Good evening and welcome to the mayoral portion of the Meet the Candidates night, and this is presented by Bucyrus Firefighters Local IAFF 1120. And a big thanks to those gentlemen for helping put this event on. I'm James Macera, again, news director for WBCO, WQEL, and CrawfordCountyNow.com at the North Central Ohio Media Group, your moderator for the evening. And we are now, as I said, moving on to the mayoral candidate portion for the city of Bucyrus. Up on the stage, we do have Ron Bors, Dan Wireball, and Jeff Reeser, all three candidates for the mayoral race. I just want to reiterate that this evening is a Q&A portion of the Meet the Candidates. This is not a debate style, as we keep that in mind. So I would like to give each candidate now first time for an opening statement, so you each can just take some time to address the audience.
I didn't know we were supposed to have an audience. You're married. I didn't get that memo.
I didn't get that memo. No, I've never kind of at a loss for words. But, hey, I've enjoyed being the mayor of this community for 5 years, a little over 5 years, taking over for Roger. Had a lot of challenges and learned a lot. It's a very, very complex, difficult job. You're dealing with not just 12,000 citizens, you're dealing with utility customers, businesses. You're looking to your history, you're looking to your present, you're trying to balance a budget, you're trying to balance, spend $6 million and divide it as good as you can with working with city council between safety forces, general government, and streets. And it can be very difficult. There's a lot of needs in the city. The biggest challenges that I think we have faced is population. You know, I was at an EPA seminar all day today. We are in the same position that most of Ohio is in. You know, we are aging, we're losing people, we have too high of poverty. So we have to address that. And one of the ways that I've addressed that is to, we work very closely with the school systems. We work very closely with the employers. We work very closely. I was able to institute for the first time a partnership with Crawford County Partnership, investing in economic development, and tied into that, we with the council's blessing, we have done some things to make the city appearance look better. A tree budget for the first time ever, and one thing you notice now as you come into town, it was important to me that our core streets, as people come into this community, look good. And when we finish Sandusky Avenue here in the next month, we're going to be checking off that need. So you come Sandusky, Marion Road, Sandusky South, Hopley, Plymouth Street. Plymouth Street, we're going to be planting some trees here this fall. This town's going to look a lot better. And thanks to City Council for investing. But we can't stop, can't rest. The communities that work well together and have a vision for the future, that are looking beyond to see how the next 200 years are going to shake out. Those are the towns that are going to do well, and we have a plan to continue that. We've invested in a new water plant. We've got our superintendent here. It's a state-of-the-art plant. We can produce about 3 million gallons a day. We're also, for the first time, we signed a historic agreement with the federal EPA. I won't go into the whole story because it will take a while, but we signed a consent decree here in 2016, and we've been working to clean up the Sandusky River, which many of you might know, when it rains real hard, we have raw sewage that goes in the river, which isn't good for a community. So we've invested millions of dollars. We were very fortunate to sign a shorter term. We can look at every 7 years. And the good news is, according to the federal EPA, which I learned today, they've become the kinder, gentler federal EPA. So when we address this again in 2021, they're going to be able to look at our community and see, what can your folks afford? I about dropped over when I heard that. So we are very, very proud of our accomplishments, but I'm very proud to be born and raised here and graduated right from this school here, but this will be my last term, and I want to make it a good one. I want to position Bucyrus to be the best town it can be, one of the best in Ohio and the entire country. Who's next?
All right, well, I guess I'll go with this. Well, I'd just like to say a little bit about myself. A lot of people may not know me. I'd worked at the former Swan Hose for nearly 30 years, majority in the maintenance department. I've got 20 years management experience, managing million-dollar projects, contractors, and vendors. I've attended North Central Technical College, Marion Technical College, and Iowa State University, studying mechanical engineering and real estate. I'm a certified drug and alcohol counselor, and along with my wife of 19 years, Barbara, we are small business owners operating Affinity HealthWorks here in Bucyrus, Gallion, and Columbus. I have 6 children, 9 grandchildren, and been a lifelong resident of Bucyrus in Crawford County, and I believe all my life's experiences have led me to this day. I've served the citizens of Bucyrus as an at-large councilman since 2010, and believe since I have been there for the past decade that there are so many ways to improve our community. I also believe the only way I can do this is as mayor of Bucyrus. I'm sure, not that prior administrations didn't have the best intentions for Bucyrus, I'm sure they did. I feel that along with former Councilman Steve Piper, who's agreed to be my service safety director, we have the experience, drive, and passion, and good ideas to move our community forward. I've got 6 things that I'd like to focus on in our first year, and first is increase our tax base, reduce utility bills, address recycling and renewable energy for Bucyrus, improve public transportation within the city, including walk paths and bikeways, and address lowering or removing fluoride and other chemicals from city water. And I would like to direct our own economic development department to support existing and attract new businesses. Those 6, along with developing a plan or a guideline to pass on to the next mayor or council in hopes of keeping the momentum of progress we have created for the next generation, is what I'd like to focus on at first. So that's just a little bit about me, what I'd like to bring to the city. Steve and I, between us, have 20 years, been through, I don't know, 4 or 5 administrations. We see how things work, and I just would hope you'd consider us come November.
Well, I'm Ron Boris. I'm running for mayor too. Now, it's going to be hard to beat these people here and what they got. But my reason for running is I think we just need a change, all right? And we need to put things together in perspective. I don't have the education that Mr. Wireball has. I don't have what Mr. Reeser has. But I do have a little bit of common sense. After working under 7 different mayors for 30 years for the city, I think I know how it runs. I ran 2 different departments between vehicle maintenance and utility maintenance. My job was to live in my budget and to be taxpayer, to keep my money and be frugal with it. And along with that, I'm bringing along Sid Sievers as my service director. That was essential of getting the downtown city done. Brought in $12 million worth of grants. So I think he knows what he's doing. And between the both of us, I think we can make this city great.
All right, now we're going to move into the citizen submitted questions. The first is utility bill prices seem to be a constant concern for many Bucyrus residents. Do you have a long-term plan to keep costs from rising or possibly even to lower the rates if possible?
I think we can maybe lower the rates, you know, if I'm elected, there's things we need to go in and take a look at and see where we can reduce the rates of utility bills. I know we're in debt with new water treatment plant. I've seen it, I've been out there, it is a state-of-the-art plant. But there's things we can do, I think, to lower the utility bills. I can't promise that, but there's things we can look into if I'm elected.
Okay. Are we here? Okay. I think it was last year, I presented council and the administration with a list of, I think, 9, maybe 7 to 9 things that I would like the administration to look at to help lower these water rates. There's different types of billing, you know, do we have to go out and read the meter every month? But I think the greatest way to reduce the overall cost to the citizens is to create more revenue. I've got a plan to do that too, but the more people we have in the city, the more that we can divide it up and it'll cost everybody less, but I'll just stop there. Okay.
Well, the way we're going to be able to reduce utility rates are to have more people, like Dan was saying. So we need to make sure our town is attractive to people, and we need to make sure we have the right housing, and we need to have the right jobs. We need to go outside the city, and that's what we've been doing. We've added new customers, had an aggressive plan to add more customers to share the burden. You know, the previous administrations that go back knew that the city needed a new water plant, that the current one had reached its useful life, and I think it was under Mike Jacobs' administration, decided to finally get that going. Correct me if I'm wrong, sis, but they had a committee of local citizens, and then it went into Roger Moore's administration, and that was in 2014, and they signed the intent with Jones and Henry, the engineers on the project, and that was it. Roger passed away, and no one thought about how they were going to pay for it, right? So I came in there, I've got a $28 million water treatment plant to pay for, and you know, and they really hadn't thought much about how they're going to pay for it. Well, this goes back 12 years. You know, the previous administration, safety service directors had not even kept up with inflation. They had not raised water rates in 12 years. Not even planning for this day. So we were 12 years behind where we should have been. Even if they kept up with inflation, they would have been probably 30% higher. So yes, the rates did go up, and there's pain, but we have about almost $1.9 million that was added to our water budget. It more than doubled to be able to pay the amortization costs on that. So where's that money come from? Well, we borrowed the money at very, very, very low interest rates, less than 2%. We were so fortunate. The city was so fortunate to be able at that time to be able to combine loans into one 20-year loan at less than 2%. That saves the city residents over $10 million over the next 20 years. Over $10 million. This is a substantial amount of money. Those are those customers, utility customers. So we have obligations. I wish I could say the utility rates are going to be lowered. And I can tell you we have a $4 million budget, $4 million revenue, and the budget right now is about $4.5 million. So we have about a $500,000 shortfall. And we are right now living off of some of the money in our water fund. So we have to make up $500,000. Does it sound like we're going to be able to lower rates? I wish we could, but it's not realistic. When you buy something, unfortunately, our generation, we pay the same rates. We have the double whammy going on right now. We're paying for a water treatment plant, and we're paying for underground infrastructure, storm separation. It's very painful. And I wish I could give you some better news. When it's paid for, it's going to be done. And then we'll start worrying about the wastewater treatment plant a little bit. But we have to look ahead on all these things. I'm not going to lie to you. I'm not going to come up here and give you any kind of smoke that says we're going to be able to do it. We're not. We have to pay just like when you go buy a house or buy a car. You're not going to Columbus. You're not going to be going anywhere, Washington, D.C., and getting money for that. These are paid for by user rates. So one thing about being mayor, I've always been honest. And I'm going to be honest with you now. In 18 years, it's going to be paid off. 18 years. 18 years will be paid off. We've already paid off 2 years, 40 payments. So, was there a question out there? I'm sorry, somebody said something, I missed it. Go ahead.
Mr. Mayor,
Yes.
you included the Ross administration when you went back to 12.
Yes. It's 2004.
We never talked about it. Mr. Fox came to me more than once during our term, asking for a new water plant. I asked Mr. Fox for a report from the EPA to tell us that
Sure.
we needed it. He could never produce it. Do you have a copy of it?
No, I'm talking about rates, though. Rates. I'm just talking about raising rates, keep up
You
with,
didn't need to raise any rates
to
because
keep up-
the
to
utility
keep-
bill was fine.
to keep up with the even cost of contracts and inflation, those sorts of, and putting money away, saving money. So, okay, we'll go on to the next question.
I'm sure all three candidates will be available afterwards if anyone would like to address or question any further questions for the candidates. At this time, we do have a limited time of this space being reserved for this event, so we would like to keep things moving. Moving on to the next question. This was asked during the city council at large as well, but this was also submitted for the mayors to address, the mayoral candidates to address as well. During the renovations to Allmiller Park Pool, many residents felt that aside from the construction of the pool being closed, it showed a lack of options for especially the preteen and teenage age groups for recreational options, especially while not in school. Do you believe that there are additional recreational options that can be brought to the city? Or do you also believe there are existing options that could be utilized or improved upon in the city?
Okay. I kind of addressed this, I don't know, somewhere. The pool didn't go together very good this year, and but one of the things I would really like to look at next year, if I am elected mayor, is the possibility of a teen night at the pool, where we could bring in pizza, get some sponsors, and have a night for teens at the pool, maybe once a month. Open it up for them, get them, obviously we'll have security and everything, but I think that's one of the other things I would like to do as revenues increase and money comes available. I think we need splash parks. If we would have had a splash park at Lions Field this year and one at Allmiller that we could have utilized while the pool was down, I don't think it would have been such a problem. I'm kind of an old timer myself, so I remember when Lions Field and Harmon Field had swimming pools, and we'd be down there all day long. And we need to focus on the youth in the community, find them things to do. We do have nice parks. I just think there's more things we can do, and there's groups out there that we can coordinate with and work with, churches and different things like that, to get these things going.
Well, about the pool, I'm not gonna sit here and blame the mayor and everything on that. Things do happen. We had a bad year with, we'll say, the frost and everything else, and the cold came in quick. But things happen. I think maybe we could have got ahead a little bit farther when, in August, and started on the program to get it done. As for taking care of the pool for the last 15 years that I worked, I never did fail to get it open. We knew the bottom was getting bad at that time. Now, was there different things that we could have done instead of putting a new bottom in? Possibility. I think a possibility would have been a liner. I had a price on a liner at one time. Now, it was about a 20-year guarantee on that liner. Would have kept the pool open on that one, but that's too late now. As far for taking for other things for kids to do, we can put things together for kids, but there are kids find things to do themselves. I didn't think for the city to babysit the children at the time. I mean, they could come down to the park. We did not have the pool open, I know. But there's other things to do down at the park. A lot of the kids are into baseball and stuff like that during this time of the season. But, you know, there's things we could do maybe uptown, like have a team place for them. I think there is a place up across from Baker's where they could play video games and stuff like that, the old style stuff like we used to do, you know, and things like that. Other than that, you know, I don't know what we really can do at that time till the pool gets back open.
Yeah, we felt awful, but we had one bidder on the pool, and the contractor we signed with, they had disputes between them and the people with concrete for payment. So we got in the middle of that, and well, like Ron said, had some weather issues too, and you know, so it's now we're just waiting right now. The concrete's been poured. It's going to be clean. It's already been sanded, and then we're going to be coating it and filling it yet this year, and just make sure everything's working right. So it'll be open. But yeah, you both had some really good ideas, and just kids are difficult today because you know they're doing this all the time, right? You know, so. But I'll tell you, one of the things we're most proud of is the basketball court out there. We partnered with the Height family, and that's got a lot of use, so much use that we're seriously considering doing another one. We got the tennis courts fixed this year. We put pickleball in for the older folks, and the trail. We've acquired Michael X, about a acre of land. We're gonna have a really nice trail out there. We just finished that deal, and we're gonna be opening that up really soon. So we're improving our parks. We have beautiful parks. We just need to make them more beautiful, and then if we do that and have activities, people will flock to them, just like the art park right now. You know, I just came from the homecoming event down there. It was full. The movie nights are fantastic events, thanks to Mr. Ratliff. Hope some of you have been there for those. So, but go ahead. You want to talk some more?
I forgot.
I cede my time.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, you see your timer out. There is one thing down there at the park that we do have. It's disc golf that was implanted, you know, and I think maybe we can promote disc golf. I do see a lot of people down there doing it. It's a good entertainment for the children to learn, and maybe we can start something on that to help play golf, disc golf.
Good idea. That gets a lot of use.
Move. Oh. Get rid of. Okay, there we go. Continuing on with the concept of green spaces, council candidates talked a little bit about this as well. With the demolition of many of the dilapidated houses in Bucyrus that have left many green spaces and empty lots in the community, while many citizens may consider the green spaces already an improvement from the dilapidated residences that were previously there, what would your administration look to do with the green spaces themselves?
Let's see, that is a good question. I think every time we tear a house down here, we lose the utilities, that on sewage, water, and that's costing us money. I know there's houses out there that need to be tear down, but there is a lot of houses out there, I think, that can be repaired. If we, if we could institute something, some similar to what maybe Columbus does, that people would come, say, if they're interested in that house, the city could acquire that house, maybe sell it to them people for, a nominal amount of money, knowing that they got X number of dollars sitting in the bank, that they would fix that house up and give them a timeline to fix it up, not for a rental, to live in, and where they could live, and they've had to live there for X number of years before they could put it up for sale. Looking at tearing the houses down, according to what the zoning board is right now, you can't build a house in them places. There's lots too small. If you can just save the existing house and have people go in there and rebuild it and make a nice living place for a family, then you still got the utility and the money coming in for the city. That's the way I feel about that.
Okay. Yeah, I think Ron's right about preserving the houses, and I think hopefully we're working on a pilot program right now, but I'm not going to get into that. But about the green spaces, I think the question was more about green spaces, and I see several throughout the town that possibly we didn't actually tear the homes down, but that they look like a really good spot for possibly a tiny house village, maybe 3 or 4 on some of these. One that sticks in my mind is an abandoned trailer park here in town. I'm not sure on the zoning how these tiny houses would work in there, but that would be something to look at. Yeah, with the zoning and things, we just really can't do much. I do think we need to take better care when the city has a property that may be beneficial to the city later. We may need to hold on to it for 10 years and go ahead and mow it. We've got some emptying out there on Mansfield Street, which could be prime business areas in 10 years, but we don't want to give those away. If I would, as mayor, I would go ahead and spend the money mowing the yards for 10 years, and hopefully you can always sell it, but I don't know. I guess I touched on a lot of things there. So.
Yeah, you guys touched on some important. Ron took it from the point of why we're tearing houses down, and it is sad when you tear them down, when you lose the customers, but some of them are so bad, inspectors can't even go into them. The roofs, it's animals, and I think we've just got no choice, and that's just the reality of the Great Recession, and then a lot of slum landlords came in and just didn't take care of them. So that's got to be very careful, and then what Dan said is important. You've got the green spaces, if you go into big cities, they turn them into pocket parks. But pocket parks need maintenance, and we don't have a large enough staff to maintain them. So we hope to get the owners next door to, either build something there or at least take care of it, so our streets guys don't have to do it. But East Mansfield's a pretty good example of that. If you go from East Mansfield to Spring Street on the south side, there's going to be a really nice building lot there for somebody. And those houses were owned by one of our worst slum landlords, and we're finally getting control of those and getting those torn down either through the land bank or the city budget. So it's a complicated question, and I think we've all kind of touched on some of the possible answers there.
The city of Bucyrus is actively welcoming new businesses, such as chain businesses like Burger King, which is currently being built, and Label Shopper, which is a new store out on East Mansfield Street. How do you plan, however, to support and encourage the growth or establishing of locally owned businesses while these chain businesses move in?
All right, okay, there's always a delay there. Yeah, I think our downtown and our small businesses, I would like to, and I actually borrowed this from one of the candidates in the primary. So I'd like to make Bucyrus, rather than the town you drive through, the town you drive to. So basically making it more of a destination. And some of the things to do that is possibly giving some breaks on utilities, tax rates, tax abatements, and things like that to get these people to start their businesses in some of these vacant buildings downtown. And work closely with the chamber. Some of the other ideas I had was to put up some of these kiosks. Every year we would put the businesses on there, and while people come to visit the Copper Kettle Works, there'd be a kiosk there, and they'd say, "Oh, there's a nice little Annie's down here on Sandusky. Let's walk over here to there." And over in that area, they run into another kiosk, and they say, "Oh, Norman's Niche is over here. Let's go over here to Norman's Niche." And another thing that we need to do while people are driving through town, and the mayor knows that the parking is a big pain in my rear end here in town, but I think we need to put up big signs that say City Lot 2 over here, City Lot 3 over there, and we need to maintain our lots so that they're a lot nicer than they are, and that's going to be, and so that means we need to fund the lots, but possibly one of my ideas, rather than putting meters in, I sit here, I work across from one of the parking lots, and I can stare at it and stare at the same cars all day, sitting there all day. And those are places that customers for the businesses downtown, I feel, could be parking. And if the employees downtown need those parking spaces, then the city may need to, rent them out to those people. And then that money can go into repairing those parking lots, bringing in more people for their businesses, so they can make more money. And it's just, we just keep it going. But I think one of the quickest ways and the best ways we can get, more revenue in town, more businesses in town, is to promote those downtown businesses and make it a destination rather than just some place you're going to drive through.
You talk about it.
No, go ahead. I'm just trying to do it.
Well, I'm not too big of a fan of a chain store, because it seems to me that we got these chains come in. They, in about 3 to 5 years, they close up and they move on if they don't make any money. I do promote small town business. I go through different small cities, and I see just stores just full of businesses. Upper Sandusky is one great one. You just see that every store front down there. I don't know why the town here can't promote a small restaurant and keep it in town. I think Lulu's has been a good addition out to the south end of town, and we should support that. All right, and I think, go back what Dan said, make it a destination. We have a lot of people that go through this town going up to the lakes. We can make them stop. I can remember Bob's Sandwich Shop being out there, and everybody would stop and get a bratwurst on their way home or way back. Why? We're limited to our sidewalk space, but I don't see why we can't put little small places out there where people can sit down and eat and enjoy. I know we had a go around about Norman's Niche up there, and because people were drinking alcohol, but there again, give people a reason to stop. Maybe I'm gonna stop, maybe I'll have a glass of wine. She also serves little knickknacks, foods and everything else. And then if you look across, you'll see the ice cream truck sitting over there. I think that's a good idea over there for Mark's Ice Cream. He's promoting the town. People come through, they stop, they see that. And I think we need more of that here. As far as for chain restaurants, like Burger King and stuff like that, I'm not a big fan of that. You know, Burger King couldn't survive out in the south end of town. I don't know why it's gonna survive on Mansfield Street, but that's just the way I feel about it. So if we can just promote small businesses in this town, I think we can go far from there.
Oh, just to answer about Burger King, this is a different franchisee. They have quite a few stores. They've opened, what, 3 or 4 this year, I think, so far. They're top-notch people, so I wouldn't worry about them. They've also, we got to thank Lori McFarland. She ran a nice place for people to live for many years, but failed in health lately, and what she did was good, but it was time we were able to clean up a pretty bad eyesore out there. So if you drive around, and I think, like Ron said, he goes into other towns too. I mean, one of the things you need to do is get out of town and look at other small towns. I go out of my way to drive through small towns just to see what the downtowns look like, and ours is enviable. I mean, people will come up to me and they'll tell me, the flowers look great, they're clean, the square, the murals. It's a beautiful little town. And it's pretty full. There's only, and I know people have been fixing up their buildings this year. We've had a business there since the 1950s. So I know I've been through a lot of different decades of how business has changed. One of the realities is that, especially with clothing, it's internet, and that's not going to change. So what the small businesses need to be is have unique things. Like a lot of the businesses are up there. They're very unique. They're destination. They're not surviving on people walking up and down like they used to all the time. They park and they get in their place. That's why you need to have good turnover in your parking, like Dan said. So there's some things we're planning. The Bicentennial Committee has some ideas how to improve the look of the downtown and make it a destination spot. But we really have nothing to be ashamed about it. We've always had a very strong business community, and I think it's as good as any of them around. So. That's it.
With different offices such as the Crawford Partnership working on county-wide projects, how do you plan to support the county-wide projects? And do you support any specific current projects, such as perhaps the Free Center Sports and Entertainment Center?
Just to let you know, the battery's almost dead on this thing. So I'll talk fast. Unfortunate reality here is, we don't have $150,000, $175,000 to have our own economic development department. So, with the blessing of council and the support of council, we were able to contribute along with county commissioners and some other entities to the partnership. So we work very closely with them. I'm under the opinion that a strong Crawford County is a strong Bucyrus. We need to have, we're 10 minutes from Galleon, 10 minutes from Crestline. People go back and forth for jobs, and we need to have we need to be not only think about our community, but so important that we support initiatives. Now, financially, about the Free Center, the city would not support that since that's in the city of Galleon, but it'll bring people to town. They'll come here to eat at our restaurants, and they will come here to stay at our hotels. So anything that the county can do to improve, bring people here, especially young people. Because when young people come, they bring their grandparents, their brothers and sisters, and their parents. So you're getting a large group of people. So unfortunately, the city of Bucyrus does not have a large endowment. We only have about $700,000 in our endowment, and that was given to us by Mrs. Philbin. It's called the Philbin Trust, and we get about 2% a year off of that. So if anybody out there is loaded, keep the Bucyrus city in your will, please. So we could use the money. That money goes to the parks, and we put it to good use. No, you don't have any? You're just starting your career, so you may have some. But we do really well, I think, here from the funds that we have there. So anyway, all a rising tide. What's the rising tide brings all ships up or whatever. That's what I go by. There you go.
Okay. Okay, well, about countywide, I've always said that Bucyrus might be a community of 11, 12,000, but we're actually a community of 40,000. We need to support Galleon, and they support us in different ways, but I also believe that Bucyrus should be the leader. I believe we should, we've got the county health department in Bucyrus. I think there's other issues that are other groups that we can lead through Bucyrus. I think we need to be the leader in different things like that. I believe that we're fortunate to have the Route 30 coming through here and Route 4 and back to the economic section of it. We built that, and some of the old timers may remember, we built that industrial park out of people's money. There wasn't any government money that went into that. They took in donations and things like that, and we built that industrial park out there. And then yes, government money has been added to it, but to get it off the ground, Mr. Gulling and that whole bunch started that park out there to bring business into town. I don't know how many years ago, 20, 25, and it should have, I just think it should have grown. Yeah, we've had some ups and downs, but I just think that I really do think we need to focus on our industrial park out there and not the Freezy Center, and that's great that they're doing that, or something else. But so that's where I would like to focus my attention in our economic department.
Well, I do believe we should, partnership with the Crawford County Economic Board there. But it seems to me every time I drive down 598, it looks to me like Gallion's getting it all and Bucyrus is getting nothing. That's what I see. We do have a good industrial park. Gallion has a good industrial park. I see small businesses going over in Gallion Industrial Park. I do not see too much coming over here. I don't know why. Like Jeff said, yes, it costs money to put an economical board together. I don't know if we could do that just for our small community here to make us grow. It's something we can look at, maybe. I don't know. But I'd like to see more business at least split up and come towards Bucyrus this way. I'd like to see more factories come if we can. I know we can't make promises on factories. We got to offer them a lot of stuff like tax abatements and everything else. That costs us money at the time. But to get them in here, and we need good paying jobs to come in here for people who can work and not work 7 days a week and work 2 or 3 jobs just to make a living. We need to bring jobs back here that people can support a family. So what I look at is just we can work with people, we can work and look for businesses, but I can think both of the men over here would think we can't promise anything, but we can just look for it.
All right. Mayors are very active when it comes to the public meetings held by the cities, including council meetings, committee meetings, which means working hand in hand with other elected officials with various viewpoints on how the city should be operated. how do you think you are able to work with a number of elected officials for the betterment of the city?
You're right, the battery is going dead. Yeah, I'm gonna talk fast, make it quick. I think I can work with council, you know? We all got different ideas. And one of the professions I had was, there's always somebody smarter than you are. And you should listen to that and look at that and bring it out, and maybe you can come up with a good idea on different things. Can we work with council? Yes, I can work with council. I can also work with the taxpayers out there. We gotta face it. The mayor is the head of the city, but actually the city belongs to its citizens, you know? And so we should need to listen to the citizens out there and see. One of them might have a good idea how to bring a factory here, just an incubator, a company. I mean, we look at that. We can look at Microsoft, how it got started in the garage. We can also look at Google, how it got started in the garage. You can look at the companies nowadays. We can look at that. Somebody might have an idea, and maybe we can just go along with that and see what we can do. And as far as working with council, I don't have a problem with them. We might have our differences, but I think in the end, things will work out great. All we need to do is talk with them.
Okay, well, I've been a council person for about 10 years, and my service director, he was also. So I think the biggest thing, being a council member and working with the administration, is when we get these surprises, and sometimes they're not intentional. Well, they're probably never intentional, but something comes to us, and we have to get this voted on tonight, you know. And wait a minute, you know, we're kind of like, you know, we're not sure if we're getting the whole story. We're not, you know, we've got questions, and so I would like to see a lot less of that. If I'm mayor, there's no reason why I can't pull some of those people in and talk to them ahead of time. I mean, I talk about having a meeting, talk about talking to each of the people individually, giving them a call or something, and say, hey, this is what's going on at the meeting tonight. You know, I think communication is the biggest thing. We need to have communication between the citizens and the administration. We need to have communication between the administration and council, administration and law director, auditor, treasurer, all of those things. Communication, you just can't go wrong if you're talking to each other. You know, it's like, you know, you get mad at your wife and you don't talk, and, you know, it just gets worse. But if you sit down and talk about it, then you usually work things out. But one of the other things I would like to promote a hotline for the city. If you've got a problem, you call that hotline, and every day during business hours, someone will answer that hotline. We've got this new fancy phone system. I'm sure we can work that out. Somebody will answer that phone at City Hall. And then after hours, someone will get back with you. If we have to pass it between the service director and the mayor and the administrative assistant and someone else, and everybody can have a day that if there's a call, they'll call you, and someone will come out, or maybe not someone will come out, but someone will contact you if the drain down on the corner is water's bubbling out of it. You don't have to wait till Monday and call somebody. So like I say, I guess the question was working with council, but I think it's working with everybody, citizens, council, and everyone.
Can you repeat the original question? Your answers are great, but I got to make sure I got the question right. So, okay.
Oh, we got to switch.
Oh, no, it's
All right.
it's with the mayor being a part of many public meetings such as council meetings, committee meetings, working with multiple elected officials with varying viewpoints on how the city could be bettered. How do you feel you can work with those other individuals?
Okay, I got it.
Well, yeah, you have to work with people. I mean, your goal with council is you have 12,000 residents, and you have at large, and you have wards representative, you have a law director, you have auditor. You've got to work the best you can together to move the city forward. The goal of the council and the mayor and the elected officials should be to make life better for 12,000 residents. Simple as that. Just make life better for them. And that would be, providing them with safety forces, that are important, providing them with clean water, high-paying jobs, best you can do, work with employers. But the mayor can't do it. You have to work with council. You have to have a good relationship with them. And I think I've had a good relationship. We haven't always agreed. I think, as a matter of fact, one time they outvoted me I think it was 7-0, wasn't it? So, but you know what? I don't hold grudges against them. I mean, I hope they don't hold grudges against me. I try to treat everybody with respect, and even if you don't always agree, you always realize that, like Dan was mayor, and Dan was in council, Dan, Bruce, Mark's here, Kevin's here. They're all here for, I hope I didn't miss Sis. They're all here, they're serving you as citizens of Bucyrus to make your life better. They're not doing it because of their ego. So getting people to work together is really an important job of really two people, I think. I think it's the mayor's job, and I think, it's the council president. So you got to be able to, try to come to some consensus as best you can on things to move Bucyrus forward.
If you could narrow down your campaign to one goal, one overall goal for the city, should you be voted into office, what would that one goal be?
Oh, I'll make it.
I'll make it short. I just said it. Just to make life better for the 12,000 residents now and the residents in the future. Just simple as that. Try to make it as you live within that budget that you have, the tax revenue that you're given, and you divide it as beneficially as possible to the current residents and with an eye to the future. There you go.
Okay, well, I started this campaign and back at the beginning of the year, and I started it with the slogan, "Build a better Bucyrus," and that's what I want to do. I want to build a better Bucyrus. Not that it's not great, but there's so many. I've sat here for 10 years and seen things that could be done, or I felt could be done. Ways to do this and ways to do that. So I guess my short answer is build a better Bucyrus.
Well, let's see here. My famous thing I think would be is to be a full-time mayor. And to, door always open. If you got a problem, come up and see me. We can talk about it, all right? Might not like what I got to say because we're only limited to what we can do with the taxpayers' money. But you might have a good idea, just like I said before, all right? My job is to work with the citizens of this town, work with the council people. I'm not running here to get my name on a plaque in town, or a street name, or a reservoir. I'm running to build a better Bucyrus here. I'm sorry, I'm going to rob your little thing there. And make this town better for the citizens. And try to increase the population that's been going downhill. I think maybe within the next 10 years, people are going to start moving back to this small town because they're going to get tired of the rat race. I mean, you go to Columbus, you live in Columbus, You might only live about 2 miles from your work, and it takes you 45 minutes to get there. Here, it doesn't. You know, maybe they're gonna commute, and maybe that's what we should do. Maybe coax some people back this way to make it nice, a nice little town. We got little things to do, and it's not gonna be, you know, we can ride a bike here and right there. We got other things we can go. But my main thing is to work for the citizens of this town and to make the town better. So that's what I'm running for.
And now we've reached the moment when I would invite either any of the three of you to offer your closing statement and remarks.
I'm gonna wait till the battery drains and you guys don't have. No. First of all, thanks to you guys for doing this. I think it's a important thing for the community. I appreciate the effort you put into it. Thanks, James, for being our moderator. And Kim for being our reporter for this. All the people who came out, especially for people, I would thank you guys for caring enough about the community to run for city office. I've had the pleasure of serving with Dan here. I know he's a straight up guy and enjoyed serving with you. Ron and I have known each other for 20 some years and you know, we've had shared a lot of laughs together. I know he's a good guy. And then I was kind of his boss. Jeff Wagner was actually his boss, but got to work with him for a few years before he retired. And I have utmost respect for Ron because he had some health issues, and a lot of people could have just stopped and gone on disability. Not Ron Boris. So he's an inspiration, I think. So I've always thought that about him, and he's got a nice twin brother too. So he's a nicer one. Yeah. So anyway, we need to have, in an era where the political climate and with Facebook and all that stuff that's out there and all the stuff you put up with, that's kind of the biggest difference in the last 4 years. It's kind of the era we live in politically. So trying to get people to run for council and run for office that are decent people is hopefully not going to be difficult in the future. So, I just ask you to support your candidates and make sure you get out and vote. It's very important too that we exercise that option. So, the last thing I want to say is I've enjoyed being mayor. I would say it's a 24/7 job. It starts early and the phone rings, at night. And you go to a lot of events on the weekends, and you're representing the city. And one of the most enjoyable things I do is right in here. I get to go into the high schools every year, Winford, Bucyrus, and Carroll Crawford, and talk to the students. And what I do is I invite them, to stay in Bucyrus. And we have jobs for them waiting right now. And it's been pretty well received. And so long after I'm mayor, I hope that tradition continues with future mayors.
Okay, well, earlier, I guess in my opening statement, I outlined 6 things that I'd like to do as mayor, and I really think those are the easy issues. There's several more difficult things that the city needs to address immediately, and they are local homelessness, the drug epidemic in our community, derelict buildings, the US EPA sewer mandate, bringing more good jobs to our area, and a focus on the youth. And even larger issues are just on the horizon. Things like repair of the Pines Reservoir, who and how are we going to provide ambulance service to the community, and a new wastewater treatment plant. Many would believe the mayor to be the leader of the community, but a wise man once said, "But the greatest among you shall be your servant." I have served the citizens of Bucyrus for a decade now through my beliefs of faith, family, and community. My 30-plus years of maintenance and engineering experience, passion for progress and innovative thinking make me the best candidate to take Bucyrus into our 3rd century. By committing to conservative spending and common sense ideas, we truly can build a better Bucyrus. And thanks the fire department for putting this on, and thank you everyone for coming out. and I can always be contacted anywhere, anytime.
Well, I don't think I can compete with that one. I think you did. Tell me your wife helped you. Well, I want to thank the fire department for putting this on tonight. I wish we had had a little better turnout than what we did, but we did. And I want to thank James over here for moderating this. You did a good job.
Thank you.
All right. My main thing is, in this town, this is a small community, and the way I look at it, their party, regardless Republican, Democrat, Independent, it really doesn't matter here. It's what the people really want and who they think is the best candidate. So I'm just thinking, I got 30 years in at the city. I've worked under 6 different mayors. I know how the city runs. And as far as for anything else, it's coming up here now. Early voting is going to start next week, and then November 5th. I just suggest that everybody, if you know somebody that's not registered, which I think it might be past time, but encourage people that are registered to get out and vote for the candidate of their choice. And I think that's all I got to say. Thank you.
That's it, done? Open for history.
Yeah, I just would like to thank the 3 candidates on the stage, Mr. Boers, Mr. Reeser, and Mr. Wireball, for taking the time for this session for the mayoral candidates at Meet the Candidates Night. Again, a thank you to Bucyrus firefighters, local IAFF 1120, for having put this on. A thank you to Bucyrus City Schools for letting us use their facilities for this event, and a big thank you earlier again to the council at large candidates who made the time to take part in the earlier session. I do believe, do you want to make a couple more comments?
Just a couple comments.
Yeah, absolutely.
I'd just like to thank everybody for coming out this evening, and those of you that are here and got to participate in this, make sure that you spread the word out there. This will be offered online. You can see this event online, so I know that you have people that you can share this with, and those that were unable to make it will be able to see this. It's our intent to just provide a platform to our elected officials to come out and speak their piece, and get the word out on what they are doing for our community and what they can do for our community. So we thank them for coming out and making this possible. Also, I'd like to just say real quick that the fire department, our local, has a pancake breakfast on the 12th from 8 to 12, and that is to help support some old equipment that we used to have in this fire department. We would like to purchase that equipment back. Old ladder towers, the 28, the 40, the 48, 49. But anyway, we got some old equipment that we would like to purchase as a department, and that pancake breakfast is going to help support that.
Where's that at?
That will be held at the fire department, 8 to 12 at the fire department. And then we have Spooktacular coming up this weekend. So that's a great event. I hope the kids come out and participate in Spooktacular.
Who's that? 4 to 7.
Spooktacular?
4 to 7.
4 to 7. Yep.
Who's cooking?
Who's cooking what, the pancakes?
Yeah.
Right here. All right, thanks again.
And just a reminder that the videos, again, as he said, will be online. They will be on CrawfordCountyNow.com. We'll get those up by tomorrow. So keep a lookout on the Facebook pages and Twitter page and all that kind of. As soon as it's ready, it'll be on those. So thank you all for coming.
Thanks.